hello everyone. Thanks for coming to our talk. I don't usually talk about the talk, but I'm very excited to have this talk because we've managed to pull together a lot of practical experience this year with y'all from two different sets of people. Well, one set is just one person, but whatever. From two people who have actually done a lot of these practices. And so basically, just so you know where you are, this talk is going to be all about the experience that my co-speakers have had setting up a platform to help their application developers out, but really building on top from what we do here at VMware Explore, all the infrastructure and the middleware and the services, and making sure they're building out that platform that helps the developers, that therefore helps the organization, have a good time and be successful. And so, to that end, if you could see it, which is fine, we're supposed to show you this required disclaimer, which you can read through. So I think, yeah.
Can we just get the screen going, please? Yeah.
We'll come get it fixed. But let me tell you about the disclaimer. It's a really great disclaimer. It's brief. It's actually readable. And as you can see, I don't know, I probably shouldn't comment on it because it's a big company and there's lawyers, but there it is. We're disclaimed. So this is me, as you can tell. So I'm Kote. Maybe afterwards I'll tell you my first name, but really only my mom and my wife call me that. I work at VMware on the developer advocate team, and I have a really nice job. I get to kind of do what you'll hear a lot about, just talk with people and see what they're doing, and then kind of synthesize and bring it back to other people. And yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone, my name's Darran Rice. I work in a team called the Tanzu Value Advisory Team, so it's an executive consultancy team. Before that I worked in banks for just over 20 years, so part of my role is around being there, giving my stories around what we've done, which is what we'll talk about a little bit today. And much like our friends here, which we'll now introduce from Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, there's four of us, so you'll part of the choreography, whatever.
Yes, hello. Yes, hello. So my name is Thomas. We are from Mercedes-Benz group, and we are working in the IT infrastructure departments. And there is like another business unit where we are in is called Dynamic Platforms, and we have our cloud portfolio in a dynamic hybrid cloud brand, and therefore we are serving a platform as a service platform, and further we have some other platforms. I come to this later. And I'm the product owner of the DHC Pass platform, and with me in the team is also my colleague Roland.
Hi, so I'm Roland. I work with Thomas, and I'm one of the platform architects for our Cloud Foundry platform. I'm with Mercedes for 4 years now, and I joined directly into the platform team. Yeah. So
I'm just gonna very briefly cover some, definitional and what's going on here things. And so as you'll hear, like from both of the people here, the concept of running a platform and building out the set of services, the runtime environment, the way you package things up, the way you monitor them, has been going on for quite some time. I mean, 7-10 years, depending on who started with things. But recently, there's been a huge amount of interest in this topic under the name of platform engineering or internal developer portals. And I think a lot of this has been kicked off, much to their credit, by Spotify talking about how they've been solving a lot of problems of having their application developers being able to be productive and work with each other. And for us in the infrastructure space, it very quickly becomes a good leaky abstraction all the way down to the infrastructure of how you can then think about how we build this platform up and make it better again for the developers. So, it's always good to have a bunch of screenshots, but there really is, I think, we're kind of at this place nowadays where I think we're more or less coming out to how we want to build out our infrastructure and do various things. And the way that I think about it is once you set up the infrastructure, the kind of cloud, whatever it may be, what you have achieved in a great way is a blinking cursor. That's just, you're ready to do something with it. And what happens after that blinking cursor is all of this platform stuff, so that you do something with that infrastructure you've set up, with that cloud you've set up, so that then it's ready for your application developers to come in and, as infrastructure people like to joke, not screw things up, right? Like actually do things in a way that's sustainable and works out well for them. And just, I always, on this topic, I always like to, and you'll hear this multiple times, but I want to really overemphasize this point that, so I used to work in If you know what ITEL is, I used to do a lot of that kind of stuff at BMC Software. So apologies if you've used my code. If you need some therapy afterwards, I can give it to you, maybe. But there's a huge shift in how you think about infrastructure here from IT service management, where you're delivering a service that fits to a certain set of requirements and capabilities. And instead, you're taking on a phrase that we all use a lot. You're taking on a platform as a product way of thinking about things. And you'll hear a lot more about this again, but I want you to keep in mind that what we're talking about here is thinking about those application developers as your customers, right? So this is the product part, is that instead of just, and I don't mean to put this in a dismissive way, but instead of just like, your SLAs and making sure that the lights are more green than red, yellow's kind of acceptable sometimes, but you're really thinking about, are my customers being successful, right? Are my customers achieving what they need within my capacity to do it, to help them out? So keep that in mind as you go through this, and always try to think about whatever Thomas, Roland, and Darran are talking about. How does this connect together to that customer mentality? Because that's what the as a product part is. And with that, you can actually hear from the people who know things about their experience with it.
Okay, yeah, so welcome back. So I will talk you a little bit more about our platform journey, so what we achieved the last years. And but before, I want to get you a little bit more into the context and the collaboration, how we work in our company together. So we have on the one hand side the business division with their IT departments. So they are serving the business divisions for the application purposes with application owners, DevOps teams, architects. And then on the other hand side, we from the dynamic platforms area, we are serving them with cloud platforms. And there we have now our product. It's called a DHC PaaS platform, and it's based on the Cloud Foundry and VMware Tanzu application service. And further, we have also in our team a Kubernetes platform, which is called KaaS, and then the normal EIS stack on the cloud portfolio and some software as a service stuff. But the thing is here that is a little bit different maybe in our company for others, that there is no top-down strategy of using such cloud platforms. It really comes from the bottom approach. So these architects, application teams, they are in decision-making of which platform they want to use. Maybe that the developers are more on this side, maybe on this side, or maybe on the other side, and they have to select what's best for their approach. And we as a complete DHC team or department, we are then consulting them, okay, maybe for your approach, this is the best one or this is the best one. And there what we see all over the years, how we work, Roland will make it a little bit more in detail later, but we saw that these grassroots marketing, so find your application teams which love your platform, that they promote this platform, because you as a platform team, you can say, I have the best platform, the other ones are stupid. But when the developers are saying it, then it comes really from another standpoint, and you have like these bush fires in these divisions, and then it's growing, and you are growing, and the platform is growing. So that was one of the key facts we found over the last years. We started this in 2015 for one dedicated project. It was Mercedes-Me. It's like an application for your mobile phone where you can get telemetric data of your car, you can track it, you can open it, and some major stuff. And on this hand side, the developers really found lots of benefits on this Cloud Foundry platform. I don't want to say it now, but if you are used to the platform, you know the benefits for the same. And then we had the idea, okay, when this developer team is so successful with it, why not spread it out about the complete company? And then we pitched it to our management. We got some budget for it and built up then the first platform for the company. And then it was that successful, and we ended in a very good success. Because what you can see here is that also Mercedes-Benz is going into this cloud-first strategy, cloud-native transformation, so all these buzzwords, what you're hearing here all over the week. We did this several years, or maybe started it, and with our platform and the Kubernetes platform and the other stuff, what we have in our portfolio, we really came to the current point of view. We have currently around about 150 application projects, and then the other things what we really focused on is to extend the complete platform with all the surroundings and all this stuff. So we all went then to also conferences, like Kuti said, or in his screenshot with Paula. That was one of the first talks we heard about this platform as a product approach, and you really have to think about it, learn about it, and then really take it into your company and really live like this approach. Because for us it was very helpful, it was a good guidance, and it made us successfully, I would say. Therefore, also these conference talks, which you're hearing here this week, maybe on Cloud Foundry Summit, maybe on Spring One or whatever. So it's really good for us, and a big shout out to all of these guys which are doing their presentations and sharing their stories. It was also helpful for us, and even to get connected to other companies. So therefore, we learned also quite a lot, and maybe also get all over the week now here with other developer teams or platform teams, and then asking about their behaviors, their circumstances, and how they maybe come over that. And then always question yourself, where can we improve? What are our KPIs, where we can be better, that the developer has a much better experience? Because that led then to the mission statement. What we said for our team is that we are not the building platform for us, we are building for the developers. Because when we are painting the walls green, but everyone wants red walls, then we are not successful. And this is where the developer focus, where you have to put in, because they are the users, and with them the platform is growing, and with them the platform is easier growing, because we cannot do every integration on our own. And all of this, what I said now in theory, led to us that this is our current setup. We have currently the platform running on-prem, and now since half a year we started off extending our infrastructure to AWS and building this complete stack on AWS infrastructure, so the Tanzu application service. And not every application is living on its own, so even in our company there is so few applications which are just on their own. You have to connect with other web services, with other applications and all this stuff, and this complete Mercedes-Benz ecosystem with services and all this stuff. And there the developer community from our side really integrated that one and really helped us with these integrations, because we just maybe 8 people or something, we cannot integrate every Mercedes service into the platform. That's where then also the developer community is very important. Further, in our DHC portfolio, there are also other things which are helping the developer teams in their daily business. It's like a CI/CD approach, like with this toolchain, which is based on Jenkins. We have also GitHub as an internal cloud source code platform, and then they can use also the GitHub Actions to deploy some stuff, and also maybe hosting their own Concourse Jenkins or whatever. Further, we then, at the beginning, we extended about the demand with the Any9's portfolio of these cloud services, because they are much more feature set, there are much more features in it. They're easier to use, and they're quite good at it and have a much more better portfolio. And then now with the also in our DHC portfolio, there is the runtime extensions, which is on services which are running on Kubernetes, where the people also can use these as backend services. So there are a bunch of things where the developer team can really select what they want. So that's then the surrounded service, as I said before, where we as a platform team integrated them, that they can use it and they can use whatever they want to. And now with the new AWS infrastructure, we are there also in talks with the Tanzu team, which is handling currently a cloud service broker integration, so that these AWS services come directly in the marketplace, so that all these services are very easy consumable from a developer perspective. And there the Tanzu team and AWS team, which are working there on it, will help us a lot on this thing. Yeah. So that was it from my side. If you have any questions afterwards, just contact us. I will hand over now to Roland.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hello again. Now I want to talk about our day-to-day business, what we are doing as a platform team at Mercedes. So at the beginning, just what are we taking care of on a daily basis as a platform team? As Thomas mentioned, we have multiple platforms. Mainly at the moment at the Mercedes-Benz data center, on-prem in our own data center, one integration and a production platform, and also on AWS, an integration and a production platform. So what do we need to take care of this platform, to update it, to keep it in good shape, and to offer a great service to our developers, because that costs a lot of time? At first, we need a great platform team, a lot of skilled people, and a ton of automation. So our team is a great mix of people. As Thomas mentioned, we are around 8, a broad mix with different technical backgrounds, so from security, software developers, architects. So we can learn a lot from each other. That's great to have such a mixed team. And of course, a lot of automation, because the daily tasks are so annoying and there's so much to do with updates, deployments, staging, accounting, internal accounting, great thing, that we would need, I think, half of you in the guys' room here to do this all manually. So the automation is key, really, and that helps us to have more time to do things for the developers. So get rid of any manual tasks, automate it, and do things for your developers. Here I want to share some pretty simple things, some methods we picked for us as a platform team, which helps us in our daily business to get better. The first thing is meetings. A while back we thought, we have too many meetings, so let's drop a lot of meetings so that we have more time for real work, to hang around in meetings and talk to each other. But we quickly noticed that this idea was backfiring. So tasks were done at the same time by 2 people, or we had some issues don't picked up by the team because nobody was talking to each other. So we got back to our daily meetings and yeah, it got better again. This leads me to my second point, the planning. So plan your tasks with the whole team. Because we noticed if everybody from the team can just pick from the backlog whatever he or she wants, maybe the complicated or annoying tasks which are there are left behind or get forgotten. So therefore we choose the way that we sit together with the team, we plan together, and we try to co-work on tasks. So if there is something complicated, do it with 2 people, and we can share the knowledge within the team. The third thing, high deployment frequency. I think there are a ton of reasons why you should be always up to date and have a high deployment frequency. I just want to highlight one thing. The more deployments and updates you do, the more experience you gain, the more confidence you gain, and it gets easier each and every update. So be up to date, do deployments, it will make your life easier at the end. And especially for the platform team, really important for us are retrospectives with the platform team. There are a ton of great examples or templates on the internet for retrospectives. We use it's called Sailboat Retrospective with the platform team, because we noticed in our daily business, we often don't have the time to talk about team things. So what is blocking us within the team? What are barriers we need to address? And with these retrospectives, we block us maybe half a day or a full day and step back from the daily business and try to address all these things. So try to improve and also to celebrate, because it's important to celebrate if you have achieved some great success. Here I want to show you how we are trying to focus on our developers. So I've just put a part of our platform activities on this slide, because we do much more, but the slide would be totally overloaded if I put everything on it. What we are trying to do, or what we are doing for our developers. I want to highlight a few examples here. So one of my favorite examples is from the developer training section. We noticed that there are a ton of general trainings on the internet, on Kubernetes, on Cloud Foundry, on everything, but they are not specific to your company. And in an enterprise IT like we have, or you all have, you all know you have to know a lot of things around your platform, how to integrate, how to get your firewalls, how to get everything around your application to get it work. And therefore we designed a Mercedes-specific 3-day training for Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes, which is held on the platforms So the developers can train on the platform which they have their application on later. So that's a great experience, and we received great feedback from the developers that they can train in a real world platform which they have to use later on. Also, what I want to highlight is our support via Mattermost. So we try to do all our support via Mattermost. So it's a chat tool like Slack, but on-prem. And we try to bring all the developers into the channel. Currently, we have around 500 active channel members and great discussions there. And we really focus to deliver our support via Mattermost, because there are search functionalities, so developers can look up if they had somebody had the same question in the past, so they don't have to ask the same question over and over again. So I would recommend also to all of you, use a chat tool for your main support. And also from the communication section, a great integration with your delivery platform. So for us, it's ServiceNow. So if a developer want to order something from the enterprise IT, they need to go to ServiceNow. And you need to make it easy for the developers to get onto your platform. So we had made a great integration with ServiceNow. This means that from the first entrance to ServiceNow till the developer can deploy his first application on our platform, it will take him 5 minutes. So he can choose to go to our platform, 5 minutes later he's able to push an app through a fully automated deployment process. So yeah, that's all from my end. Now I'd like to hand over to Darren. Thank you.
There we go. Is that one forward?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Roland. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we just heard some great real-life stories there of seeing platforms built, platforms of product concepts. But also I think what's great is about the journey that these guys have been on. Some of you guys might be in organisations that haven't really thought about this, or maybe you've built a product, but you're not a platform, but you're not necessarily running it in that product mindset. So where do you start, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I think obviously you need a rock-solid platform. For example, I don't know, Tanzu. Okay, and then you need to obviously put, just as an idea, and then you could need to put some tools around it. Okay, of course you need to do that. But lots of traditional engineering teams just stop there. And on its own, a platform and the tools aren't going to transform your business. So then the next layer up is obviously looking at the processes, looking at, are you moving to an agile way of working? Are you looking at your, processes? Are you doing value stream mapping? Are you looking at lean ways of working? But even before that, it all comes back to the people and ultimately the culture, right? So how do you influence the culture? Now, we've talked a lot about developers and what's in it for developers, and as these guys said, it's all about the developer. The application makes the revenue for the business. We get that, and we're all about the app here at Tanzu. But what about the platform team? They're still part of the organization. Without the platform team being bought in and incentivized, the developers won't have a good experience. Developers won't get their application into production. They won't be able to write their code. So I've had an experience of building platform teams and transforming platform teams into different ways of thinking, right? Because you probably end up with a team of traditional engineers who maybe are much more interested in the tech and less interested in maybe that customer interaction that we just heard about from Mercedes-Benz, and I've done in other organizations, right? So how do you start with a platform team that's maybe thinking in this mindset? I've seen it done badly in two ways. One is you try and do it on your own and you don't bring any help in. So I've also seen people go off and hire a completely brand new team, and they go off into a room and they go and develop something, and they come out and it obviously doesn't work in your organization because they don't know the ecosystems, they don't know the integration. And culturally it can build resentment with the existing teams that you've just gone off and hired a whole bunch of new people. So where I have seen it work is you've probably got great people in your organization. They probably just need a bit of a steer and a bit of incentive and a bit of training on how to move and think in this way. So my recommendation is what I've done in the past is work with your existing team, look for the people that are interested in change, bring some consultants and, I don't know, maybe Tanzu Labs, just as an idea, and work together, form that initial team. But then you've got to think, what's in it for them? Well, how do you start? One of the ways you start is obviously with goals. People work towards their KPIs and OKRs. If you're setting traditional OKRs for your team, like uptime, like capacity management, traditional infrastructure things, that's what people will work towards and that's what they'll achieve. It will be the tick in the box in their year review. But if you change it to a sort of product mindset where you're saying, how many service reviews did you do with your customer? Have you got your roadmap in place? Have you got a service catalogue? Does everybody know about it? Have you done internal surveys to see whether your customers are actually happy? If you make that the incentive for your employees, that's what they'll work for, right? Now, you don't have to be a manager to implement this. You could just be someone as an influencer who can incentivize your team to think in this way. The other thing I saw was thinking about the day life of someone who works in more of a traditional way. If you've not got a platform, or maybe you've got a platform but it's not being adopted or it's not being run in this platform as a product mindset, you're probably working in an organization that's very ticket-based. It's probably very ad hoc request-based, customer request-driven. You probably spend a lot of your time trying to prioritize things or maybe repeating the same thing over and over again. If you then tell the team, wouldn't you much be rather working on automation, on customer feedback, working with customers and getting that direct feedback from the customer that what you're doing is successful, then teams buy into that. That's what they want to work on. Engineers want to work on automation. They don't want to be working on closing tickets. I think the other thing is, it was a good point that Roland mentioned here, building an internal community, right? Anyone that's got kids knows you don't want to answer the same question 100 times, right? And that's what I found we did before we moved to this sort of internal community mindset, because same problems, troubleshooting the same problems, answering the same questions, people weren't aware of what you're doing. If you can build that community through chat channels, through whatever else it is, I knew our platform was going to be a success when I saw one internal customer answer the question of another internal customer. And the brilliant thing about that is if you want to scale and you can then run 100 applications with a very small, or hundreds of applications with a very small team, is because you don't have to add headcount. You can just build champions within your early adopters and then they sell your platform for you internally, right? I think another important thing is people care about their reputation. People don't come to work to be seen as a bottleneck or slow or, unresponsive. That tends to be a consequence of bad culture in an organization. People want to be seen as valued for the expertise they have, for the, they've obviously trained and understand and have probably got years of experience, but the business often only see the outcome, which is too slow to deliver, too expensive. If you can build a platform that the customer actually loves, then your people will spend their time adding the value over and above the platform, right? The other thing is around what's the expectation of an operations team now? The world moves on, right? Dining out on uptime for an operations team is something we did in the 90s and early 2000s, right? That is the minimum bar now, right? No one says, what was good about the app? Oh, it was working. People expect it to work now, right? It's like electricity. Your infrastructure has to always be working. So where you now seem to make a difference to the organization is above that layer. Once you've delivered the platform and it's working, how do I get the application to actually use the platform? How can I help the customer? How can I steer them in the right direction? Okay? And that's, people go to work and enjoy going to work when they get good feedback. Now what I'm talking about here is making operations people and infrastructure people understand that if they help devs, then devs will ultimately help ops. And when we talk about culture, it's all around the relationship, I think, between the operations teams and infrastructure teams and the developers and the business, right? Operations teams still obviously have to care about things like capacity, compliance. Sorry, you're absolutely right. Thank you very much for that. I'm a slide behind. Infrastructure teams have to care about things like capacity and compliance and end of life and things like that. But if you can build a standard platform, if you can steer people towards that platform, and people aren't going off reinventing the wheel, they're not doing shadow IT because they don't trust you to deliver. If they're, then when you come to be audited, when you come to sort of try and work out what vulnerabilities are in your estate, you don't have to go to 1,000 different servers that's built in 1,000 different ways. And that makes your life happier as well. Another thing around cultural change. it's human nature to, if you don't think you can get something, when you see it, you'll buy 100. So COVID showed us that. In the UK, because people didn't think they could get pasta or toilet rolls, when they could buy them, they bought 100. Right? It's the same with infrastructure. If you don't think you can get a VM or a database or an IP address, as soon as you think you can, you get 100 and you hug them, and I've seen that behaviour. Or you might have systems that you only use once a year, but you refuse to give them up because you need them for that one test. You don't trust the infrastructure organisation to give that to you when you need it. What I've seen work is as you build that trust first. We took out all the processes, we took out any approvals or internal pricing for maybe development environments, for example, and proved that we could give the platform in a day. Once you build that trust, you can then go back and you can say, right, all that capacity that's underutilised, we're going to now auto-delete that because we've now proven that you can give it back. And that's what I talk about good culture rather than bad culture. Bad culture is devs not trusting operations to do what they're supposed to do, so they go and then do toxic behaviour like shadow IT, hugging infrastructure, going off to cloud themselves, and everyone reinventing the wheel. Whereas good culture is devs and ops teams with regular feedback, feeding in, trusting the operations team to deliver what they say they will, when they will, and therefore the devs don't get into this kind of behaviour. On that note, I think I'll hand back for the sort of wrap up and Q&A. Here we go. Thank you.
So, well, first of all, we had some like last thoughts to share with y'all, but I wanted to see, does anyone have questions? I mean, if we have about 10 minutes left, and if there's any questions people have, we can answer those, but if not, we can tell you answers to questions we wish we had been asked. Oh, sorry, you back there. So I think someone's coming with a mic, if you don't mind. Do y'all want to come over here?
Sure. On which distance do you take reviews or especially retros?
Yeah,
1 week, 2 weeks.
So the retrospective we are doing within our team every quarter. So it's always quarterly. We are doing it in a team. So just for us, platform architects and product owners. So we are 4 people. Then we are extending another retrospective to the complete platform team. And then we're doing another retrospective with our management. So that every party which is involved into this platform and have maybe different views on different topics, everyone gets the chance to put something in. What are maybe the good things, what happened, what are maybe the things which holding us back. And there, for that one, we learned that it's always good to see everyone, to get everyone on the side and then decide together what are maybe the next steps, what is maybe the new aim or goal, what we want to achieve. Does it make sense? Okay, thanks.
Yes. Go ahead.
So you have to wait unless the recording is not.
And also, I have a 2.5-year-old, and I think I've lost all the hearing in this ear. It's very expressive.
My question is also to Mercedes-Benz. You told that you are using Tensor Application Service, so it's a more technical question. Do you have any plans to also use something like Tensor Application Platform? Or?
No, currently, we as a PaaS team, we stay with this, but as in our organizational team, there is also a Kubernetes platform, but this is not based on any VMware. So this is vanilla native Kubernetes, which this team has built up, and they are going with this one. It was on the underlying stack is still VMware, but now they moved to OpenStack and using this now. Yeah. But that's not that's not in our decision, and maybe I guess there is also talks about from VMware to this team about what is maybe TAP is beneficial for them. So VMware guys are in talks with them, but it's not in our responsibility.
And also, is that the team that gave a talk at KubeCon?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so there's a talk from KubeCon from that team if you're interested in learning what they're doing. It's also a great talk.
And they had like a talk last week in a DevOps conference in Denmark.
Right.
So they also attended there and give their story there. Yeah.
Is this the team from Peter Müller?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
You already talked to him, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, he's from the subsidiary, which is the DevOps team. Same from our. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone? All right. Well, I think we might as well wrap up. I really appreciate y'all coming to check this out, as I was happy to hear it. It was good. So yeah, I mean, we'll be around. I'm not going to promise anything for my friends here, but I'll be around for a while if you're interested in talking more or have more questions. And with that, enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks.
Bye.